Welcome back to the 2 Point Show, where we give you the latest sports rundown. We are your hosts, Gideon and Joey, breaking down stories, giving hot takes, and interviewing athletes around the world. From buzzer beaters to bold predictions, we will give you fresh analysis, real opinions, and some fun arguments along the way. So whether you're tuning in on your drive, in the gym, or simply on your couch, get ready for a good one. This is the 2 Point Show.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the 2 Point Show. Today we got a very, very special guest, current member of Oakland basketball, Buru Naivalurua. Buru, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so quick background on Buru. He's currently a starting forward for the Golden Grizzlies. He's been with the Golden Grizzlies for 3 years. You know, he's averaging 14 and 6 right now. And, you know, Buru has a unique background. You know, he's from Sydney, Australia, and you know, he moved back and forth between Australia and Fiji in his childhood. Buru's also the youngest of 10 siblings. That's can't even imagine.
Wow.
And, so Buru initially played rugby for 9 years, and he transitioned to basketball at the age of 15. And I'd say it's working out well. I'd say. So we got an opening question for you. Take us through kind of a day in the life of a game day. You know, let's say you play tonight at 7, and what do you do throughout the day?
So my game days have sort of been exactly the same since I was in JUCO. Kind of depends on whether or not we're home or away. Well, I altered it a bit when I got to D1. Now here, if we're at home, I won't nap on game day. I'll just stay up the entire day and I'll go to the game. I usually head in to the arena with when it says about 88, 90 minutes on the clock, that's usually when I'm walking in. I put on all of my gear immediately, my shorts, my jersey, my long sleeve. I walk into the training room. I warm my knees up a bit with the heating pads, warm my knees, my quads, my hamstrings, all that sort of stuff. And then I walk out onto the court. It's kind of a superstition. I don't know how it started, but it just did. Where I will only shoot like 50 to like 20 shots before the game starts, before we actually start warming up.
Dang.
And the rest of the time, I kind of just sit on the bench and get in the right mind frame to play, listen to music, whatever, just take it easy. Before I even walk into the gym or any of that, I try and spend as much time as I can not thinking about the game or not thinking about basketball or any of that sort of thing. I try and sort of like the calm before the storm, just really focus on the relaxation portion of my day where I can keep my mind off it. I can sort of be zen, just eat food, relax, and then as soon as I walk into the building, it's all business. Away, it's a little different. Away, I have to nap.
Yeah.
Like, we play a 7 p.m. game, and we have shoot-around and everything like that in the morning. As soon as shoot-around's done, we'll eat, I'll shower, and I'm straight to sleep. Like, 2-hour nap before we eat. And then we'll eat. I'll stay up the rest of the time till we get on the bus and head to the game, and everything's pretty much the same after that.
So I would like to say you're more of a mental guy before games, I guess, than a physical, like, shoot-around type of guy. You like to really lock in the mental aspect of the game.
Yeah, definitely. It's very different to the way some of our other teammates do it. I know Brody, I think he shoots like, it has to be like close to 300 shots or something before the game even starts. He's putting up a lot of jump shots. He's very particular about starting inside, form shooting, and then he gets on the three-point line and he starts launching them from all around. That's pre-game, and then whenever we get free shooting, he does the same thing. Before we go out, he's like that, and then I'm kind of the very opposite end of the spectrum in that I don't really shoot too much. I kind of just get mentally prepared.
Yeah. So we'll move on to kind of your childhood and growing up. So we said earlier you're the youngest of 10 siblings. Tell us what that was like, you growing up, and tell us how it is now.
It was a lot of fun, but it also kind of sucked at the same time. I was the youngest by like a very wide margin. Between me and the second youngest in our family is like 9 years, so there wasn't a whole lot of like bridging the gap of age as far as like growing up. They were teenagers when I was still in primary school or elementary school, I think it's called here. So like they kind of like babysat me a lot, and like when you're a teenager, everything, you're just kind of moody all the time. So if my mom was out doing something, she was gone, and like this 15-year-old just got told they had to stay in and look after their kid brother, like
Yeah.
my sisters were just always annoyed with me all the time. And I was I wasn't a bad kid, but I could be annoying because I loved to ask questions, like mess around, that sort of thing. So I'd be like trying to talk to them about something all the time. They'd just be like, "Shut up, go away. Like, this is not the time."
Yeah.
But as we got older, like as soon as I became an adult, basically, we're all just adults now. So we talk, we hang out, we speak about older times. We get on calls from time to time too. So our relationship has changed a lot, and it's kind of weird in the sense that it's like when I was younger, I couldn't imagine just speaking to them as if we were just peers, I guess. Like we're the same now because we're all adults.
Yeah.
Right.
It was always very much like they were like the authority in my life for like such a long time, and then one day it was just like, oh yeah, these are just other people. Like we're just without any real authority over anything I can do now. They're just like, hey, make good choices, be safe. I'm still the younger sibling, but they're more just like, if he does something, it's his choice. Like we did what we could helping raising him, and now he's his own man, and
Right.
that's sort of what it's like now.
For sure, yeah. I mean, that's crazy. So how many siblings? Like, you had how many brothers and how many sisters?
So I have 4 brothers and 5 sisters.
Okay, so it's even.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy.
I grew up with 5 of them. The other 4 stayed overseas. I think I have 2 siblings here in the States.
Okay.
One in San Fran, and I think the other's in Seattle right now. And then the other 2 siblings that lived overseas stayed in Fiji. But they've moved to Australia now.
Okay.
And my other siblings, we all grew up in the same house for
Nice.
the
Very cool.
longest time.
Very cool. Yeah, but before we get to this next question, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Short intermission to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Rochester Mills Beer Company in downtown Rochester. If you're looking for a great place to grab a meal with family or friends, the Rochester Mills has you covered. They've been a staple in downtown Rochester for over 28 years, and it's easy to see why. The food is outstanding, from classic comfort foods to elevated pub favorites. This is a place where everyone can find something on the menu that they will fall in love with. Whether it's a casual lunch, a family dinner, or meeting up with some friends, the Rochester Mills is a perfect go-to. And of course, they're known for their craft beer, brewed right there, making it a true downtown Rochester experience. So next time you're looking for a great place to eat, grab a drink, or simply hang out, head on over to the Rochester Mills. You can check them out online at beercos.com to see their menus, drinks, and much more. That's BEERCOS.com. Thank you, Rochester Mills. Now back to the show. So, Bru, I just want to know, tell us about your transition from rugby to basketball. That's such a unique transition, and you transitioned to basketball at, I would like to say, a late age of 15, but obviously now you're playing Division I. You're really talented at it. So I just want to know, like, what did you think of it at first, and just walk us through it?
So, my oldest sister actually played a lot of basketball. basketball her entire life, basically. And that was kind of my introduction to it. I never played competitively or anything, but whenever she'd go to shoot around, I'd just like rebound for her or whatever. We'd be at the park and that sort of thing. And that's how I got to sort of get to know the sport in a way. She kind of taught me the basics of like a jump shot and like a layup, but that was about it. She tried to get me into basketball when I was younger for the longest time, and I just would not bite because I loved rugby, still do. I love it. Um, so like I was already familiar with it before I had started playing properly at 15. Um, and then the transition actually came because I had gotten uh, in some trouble with fees at school. I went to a sports school and I was in the rugby league program there. And it was like, I can't remember how much it was, but we had to pay a fee every year and we had not paid the fee one year. So I was in detention, like rugby league detention, basically, where they'd, we
Troublemaker.
had we had specific uh, periods to train. I was at a sports school, so every Tuesday, the last period we train. Thursdays, the last two periods we train from 12:15 to 2:50. We would train. On Tuesdays, it was 1:50 to 2:50. And then as you got older, you'd have morning sessions and specific periods during the school day that weren't just Tuesday and Thursday to train as well. And when you're in detention, you weren't allowed to do any of that. So my entire team would be training and I'd be in a classroom with all the other guys who were in trouble writing in booklets. It was the worst. It was nobody liked it. So one day, I'm walking through the halls and the high school basketball coach sees me and he looks at me and he's like, "You're pretty tall and you're like super athletic. I've seen you play rugby. You should just try to play basketball." And in my head, I was like, well, I kind of have no responsibilities to play rugby right now. So like, what's the harm in playing basketball? Went to one tournament, played in it, kind of sucked because at this point, all I really did was like pick up basketball every now and again at lunch and recess with my friends. I had not played against any real competition, but um, I was just so much bigger and taller and more athletic than everyone else that I could sort of make do with my athleticism over my lack of ability. So I just rebound, block shots, make layups. Um, but after that first tournament, I kind of just fell in love with playing basketball. It was something new. It was exciting. It was something that I wasn't naturally uh, immediately good at as far as the skills aspect of it went. And that that room for growth, like that extreme room for growth, really
For sure.
sort of intrigued me. And I met some friends on the basketball team. And from that point forward, like every week, we'd go out to some street court somewhere and we just hoop for hours. Like there was a church court um, at the back of a church that me and my friends would go to every day after school, and we'd stay there from like 4 to like 8 p.m. just
Wow.
hooping. There was another one that's it was down the road from the station. They both these courts were like legitimately maybe a 20-minute walk from each other. And as soon as games on one court would finish, if people were going home, because one of the courts didn't have lights,
Mm.
we'd walk to the other court and play there.
Dude, that's
So
so
like,
life. Ball is life. That's
yeah,
so cool.
when I was younger, we'd do it all the time. There was a PCYC, it's like Australia's version of the YMCA, that it was an indoor court. You paid $2 to get in, and you could just stay in there as long as you wanted until they had like, I don't know, somebody booked out the court or something. We'd be in there a lot too, whenever we wanted to just, not be outside, be somewhere with some shade, some water, whatever. And we'd stay there too for like hours on end. Like I remember specifically, it'd be me and three of my friends. We'd go there on like a Saturday or a public holiday or something. We'd go there in the morning and we'd play there until like 12. There was a little mall down the road that we'd walk to. It's about 10, 15-minute walk, whatever. Walk there, we'd eat lunch, we'd hang out, then we'd go back to the gym at the PCYC and we'd hoop again for like another 3 hours. It was just like it was all like once I quit playing rugby, that was like all I did basically. It was like hoop with these guys all the time, and it helped a lot. Like playing 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, whatever. Like just figuring out things I could do, what I was good at, that sort of thing. And then, at 15, I eventually joined a club, and that story in and of itself is pretty crazy. I didn't even really want to join the club at first. The guy who recruited me, he's like a mentor to me now. Still very close with him. He had seen me at a rec league playing with the same friends that I hoop with all the time, and I played pretty poorly actually. I had no idea why he walked up to me, but he'd come and he said, "How old are you? Why don't you join our club team?" And I said, "Well, I was still playing rugby at the time outside of basketball on the weekends, just not for the school anymore." And I told him like, "Yeah, I'm a rugby player, man. I don't do basketball." And he said, "Well, the trials are on this day. Come if you want to, but I think it'd be good for you." And I told him like, no, I wasn't going to do it. The day of the trial comes, I don't go. But the next day, there's a trial for the next age group that my friend was going to. And he was like, usually that was the day we all hoop together. But he was like, "I'm going to this trial. You can come if you want to, and we'll just hoop after." I was like, "All right, cool." I show up to this trial, and the same coach that invited me to the first trial was there as well.
That's
And
sick.
he saw me sitting on the sidelines, and he looked at me and he said, "Why didn't you come to the trial yesterday?" And I said, "Look, like I told you, I play rugby. This isn't really my thing." And then he asked, "Why are you here?" I said, "To watch my friend." And he looks at me and he goes, is there an issue as to why you play?" And I was like, "Well, I just told him like we can't pay the fees if I play." And he said, "Well, if we can get the fees waived, will you play for us?" And I had literally no real organized hoops experience outside of rec. So I was like, "Yeah, sure, if you can do it, then I'll play." In my mind, I'm thinking like, there's no way this guy is going to be able to convince the club's board to waive fees for this one kid who's done literally nothing. He's done nothing. And he said, "Cool, give me your mum's phone number, and if I can get it waived, I'll call you." I was like, yeah, all right, whatever. A couple of days go by, I completely forget this even happened, and my mom gets a call from this coach. He says, "Managed to get the club to waive the fees. His first day of practice is tomorrow. I'll see you there."
Wow.
And
Impressive.
yeah, from that day forward, just hooped.
Wow.
That's so cool, man. That's such a unique story. I love hearing that. I love hearing everyone's different stories and stuff. It's just really cool to me. So I got a question for you as well. Just how different is it from, like, how would you say, describe the differences between Australia, Fiji, and America?
Um, well, in Australia and Fiji both really, the weather is just way nicer. Just
Yeah, I mean, we're
it's
in
a
the
lot
coldest time
warmer.
of Michigan history.
But even in the winters in Australia, like I always used to think it was very cold, and it still can get cold. Don't get me wrong, there are still days where it's like it's cold, but it's never anything like this. Like I've never needed a winter coat ever in my life until I got here. Like the need for gloves or anything like that was just
Yeah.
never a thing. Even like uh, rugby for the most is like kind of a winter sport. Like you
Mm,
play into the winter,
right.
and we wear like you've seen like small shorts and like a jersey that is like shoulder cut. So it's like you're out there in very little clothing and you can play and be fine. But like here, it's in the winter. If you walked out in shorts, you'd get frostbite and like
Yeah.
die or something. Like that's just it's so different in that aspect of like the weather. Whereas in like Australia and Fiji, even Fiji doesn't even have a winter. It just has like a wet season where it rains a lot. And in Australia, when it is cold, it's never really that bad. So whenever I go back home, because the seasons are flipped, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
I go back and it's winter and it gets kind of cold, but I'm always like,
It's
not
it's
that
not what it is
bad.
here, man.
Yeah,
Right.
not that bad at all.
All right.
I do think I prefer the food in Australia to the food here. It's just everything just tastes a bit fresher,
Yeah.
like the
I
meat
think
and
here's
the produce and everything.
A lot of processed food in America.
Yeah, I will say I think they season things better here than they do in Australia.
Okay.
So it kind of like evens itself out. Like food here is seasoned a little better. Food back home is fresher, so you just get like a mix of both. Same thing in Fiji. Like there's a lot of similarities between Fiji and Australia in that aspect, but I will say Fiji is further behind in a lot of places. Like it's just not as developed as
Gotcha.
Australia or America.
Okay.
Like I was there when I was pretty young, basically as early as I could get onto a flight to the time I was about 4 or 5 years old. I spent a lot of my time in Fiji and we stayed at like some hotels, but also like the villages that my family grew up in. And like we didn't have like running hot water or anything. I remember taking like if you wanted a hot shower, you had to like boil the water outside, and then you got like a pan, and then you'd scoop up the water and just like stand in like a bucket and
Jeez.
pour it on yourself, and that's sort of how you had like a hot shower or whatever.
Wow.
But it was also really fun, like at least as a kid, so much fun. Everybody, because it's like the villages are pretty small and everybody knows each other. It's in like a compound sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like people in Fiji, super welcoming, super friendly. So, and we're all kind of like, especially in the village, we're all kind of like family. So I remember just walking down past other people's compounds while the door was open. They'd invite you in for breakfast or whatever. Literally, you just walk past like, oh, have you eaten yet? You'd be like, no. They come in and eat. You sit down with them, their family, their kids, whatever. They feed you, and then you just go on your way. And like every single door you walk past, somebody asks you the same thing. All the kids were always outside playing together, and people got up way earlier over there too, because they sort of did all the farm work and the yard work themselves. So like early mornings they'd be up, clean everything, all the farming and that sort of thing was done. Then they'd go to work. Some people made bread early in the morning. Some people made food and stuff so they could take it down to the markets to sell and make money that way. So it's just very different life to like Australia and America. And then once I lived in Australia, it was like pretty similar to here in terms of like, houses, hot running water everywhere.
Yeah.
By the way, this isn't to say that there's no running water anywhere in Fiji. There are plenty of places that are, obviously they have things that work out, just like in some of the villages that I went to. It's not the same across the board,
Right.
I should say. It's just some parts aren't as developed as others, but there are definitely parts of Fiji that are just like Australia and America. But yeah, like the struggle in Fiji is very different to the struggles in Australia and America.
Interesting.
But yeah, in Australia, growing up, I mean, we were broke there too for a long time. So it was, I grew up in government housing, like housing commission, but it was similar in that, like, once you grow up in housing commission, like everyone around you is also generally also in housing commission. They all have kids and stuff that live up and down the block that we all like hung out with. We went to parks, kicked the footy around, hang out every day. We all went to the same primary school. So we'd go there, we'd walk home together. There was a KFC like across the road from our street that we'd eat at sometimes if we had like $5 or something.
Nice.
So like, yeah, but it was always pretty cool.
Yeah, for
America,
sure.
for the most part, not really that different. Surprisingly, not that different. It's just like it's more so just
Food,
like,
culture, kind of that
yeah,
category.
food and culture are kind of similar. It's just Australia's sort of like a big melting pot of cultures. Like
For sure.
the area I grew up in was predominantly like Middle Eastern, but then like if you traveled like 15 minutes over to like a couple other suburbs, it was like heavily like Eastern Asian, and then there was suburbs that were Southeast Asian, and then if you go into the city, that's kind of where like everything sort of comes together, and then like the northern beaches and southeastern beaches, that's where like a lot of the uh, Anglo Australians stay at. There are a lot of English people, a lot of Irish people too. Like it's kind of weird. Australia is kind of like the Australian culture is kind of just like everyone being from all over the world in one place and just
Nice.
hanging out. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna jump to your Garden City days.
Getting to
And
some hoops.
yeah, so Garden City is kind of there's a pipeline, throughout the Oakland program. There's been some players in the past coming from Garden City, but I just want to know, Garden City is one of the, I think, premier programs in JUCO ball. Tell us what makes Garden City, kind of the place to be to get your name out there, to get recruited.
Well, generally, Garden City for the most part has been pretty successful with like just a bunch of guys going D1. Generally, it's a lot of talent on one team. Both years that I was there, we had, I think, 4 or 5 guys go Division 1. Obviously, there was Mo Diarra, Tone Hunter went there, Mike Octave, a couple of guys, Jabari and Jairi McLeod, that all went Division 1 after that year. And then my next year I was there, it was me, Larry, David, Dejon, Dre, and Boston, who went the next year, all went Division 1. So like it pumps out Division 1 talent literally all the time,
Right.
And because it does it so often, it gets a lot of recognition from college coaches that come to watch them practice and play, and they turn on the games. Obviously, playing in the Jayhawk too, it's a big conference, and when you have this many guys every single year coming from one program that ended up being Division 1 talents, like super hard to ignore for any coach. They always have to go and see what's going on, whether it's a down year or an up year or whatever it is. You're always going to find someone out of Garden City.
Right.
I think last year, Antonio Cho was there. He was an All-American. And that's the other thing. For 4 years straight or 5 years straight, whatever it is, Garden City has had an All-American come out of
Yep.
their program. It was
Wow.
Mo, then it was me, then it was Brody, and then it was Cho. So like it's a lot of successful guys
So you
come
were a
from this
JUCO
one program.
All-American.
Yeah.
Congrats on that, man. That's really cool.
Thank you. Thank you. So, you know, it's just a school with that kind of history of players in a conference like the Jayhawk, where they play a lot of the best teams in the country every other week. You know, the Cowleys, the Hutches, and whatnot. Dodge has been really good the last couple of years too.
Yeah.
So like with that sort of success and with that kind of competition, like if you want to get to a Division 1 school and you want that opportunity, like Garden City is a great place to be.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right.
So Buru,
Um,
you're coming in. I want to talk about Oakland now. We're getting into the D1 hoops of college basketball. You've played 3 seasons with Oakland. That's correct.
Yeah.
So I just want to know what we got to talk about. We got to talk about the GOAT, man. We got to talk about Coach Kampe. I just want to know, what is your relationship like with Coach Kampe these last few years, and I also want to know just how is he and like what's he like as a coach, and just how have you guys developed as like a great pair?
It's definitely grown over the years from my first year to now. We've grown a lot closer. Our relationship's gotten closer as I've stayed over the years. And he's made it clear to me, like, whenever I need to talk about anything with the team or myself, whatever, he's always just a phone call away. If he thinks something about practice or something, or if he's not sure, he'll ask me what I want to do or what the guys want to do. Same thing with off day activities or whatever. If he wants to go bowling or paintballing or whatever, paintballing, he just kind of asks, is like, hey, what do you feel like? What do the guys want to do? So from that point, we've built a pretty stable relationship over the years, because this definitely wasn't happening my first year. Obviously, we had Blake and Trey and Chris and all these guys. So,
Right.
it's been pretty cool to just have that build upon year on year to where it is now. As a coach, he's always been pretty tough. He's always been a pretty tough guy on us. He's, your typical old school coach where he just blows up at guys. Like, we make mistakes on the court, we get into the huddle, and you hear about it in film, hear about it at halftime. But that's just the way he is. He's very, like, he'll blow up at you one possession and then completely forget about it the next. There was actually literally in the Detroit game we just played, I think Jada just hit a three, and he'd scored 3 straight buckets. I'd let him catch it in the high post twice. He had 2 mid-range jump shots, then he hit a corner 3. And I got subbed out of the game because of it. And we have the ball. He calls a timeout. It's a 30-second timeout. We all standing around the clipboard. And he looks at me and he's like, Buru, you're in the game, right? I was like, no, you just subbed me out. He was like, oh, that's right. Okay, then. This is what we'll do instead. So he really, like,
Oh my
if
God.
he's angry at you for something or he's blown up at you for something, he will literally forget about it in the next 5 seconds. He might remember later on at the end of the game or something, but in the moment,
Yeah, he's
once
just
it's
so
one,
locked into the moment.
yeah, once it's over, it's over. Like, he completely forgets about whatever he just said. And it's been a bit of an adjustment for some of the other guys. That's sort of where I've kind of helped in places them understand that, like, when Kampe is getting on you about something, he doesn't mean it. That's just how he communicates things. You just gotta
Tough love.
you gotta have thick skin about it and understand, like, none of this is personal. This is just him trying to get the best out of you. And he's been pretty good with understanding what kind of elicits the best response from players. Earlier on, he used to get on my back really hard about things, but he kind of noticed that he never really got a response, like, not up or down. It was just kind of like, okay, cool. And that's mainly because in rugby, coaches have gotten on me way worse, way worse than anything Kampe could have ever done. But he kind of figured out, like, he just needs to talk to me and just be like, this is what we need from you. Like, you need to bring it, like, now. And then let me sort of, like I said before, my pregame's very mental. You just got to let me sort of find the space mentally. And then once I'm there, I'm there.
Right.
So he's been good with that. And he's always been good with that in terms of just finding what makes guys tick and what makes them go. And then once he's got that, he kind of coaches everyone that way accordingly.
Yeah.
Cool.
So your first year, obviously, at Oakland, you were part of that Horizon League champion team and the NCAA tournament win over Kentucky. What made the identity? You guys had this kind of love each other championship identity you guys had. Just tell us about what was so special about that team.
I think just the fact that everyone genuinely, both on and off the court, had a respect and love for each other, like a real genuine love,
Yeah.
where you just wanted to see everybody succeed, whether it was Jack or Blake or Trey, Chris or Osei, Rocket, like everyone just was happy for whoever's night it was. And obviously a lot of the time it was Trey. I mean, he averaged 18, won mid-major player of the year,
Yeah.
did all of that. But there were also nights where like we wouldn't have won games without Blake. We wouldn't have won games without Jack. I remember one game in Milwaukee where Chris had like broken his thumb or something the game before, and he had to sit out, and I was playing a lot of minutes ahead of him, and we got on the bus, or even at halftime, there was nobody happier for me at the time than Chris. So
Yeah, I mean, you had like 17 rebounds and 5 blocks,
Yeah.
I think, something like that. It was,
yeah, so it was like that kind of like camaraderie and love really made us special, because whenever things got tough, it was just like whatever, dude. Like
yeah.
Right.
we banded together really, really well, and we won a lot of close games because of it. You know, it wasn't like we were just walking into arenas and rolling people by 20 or 30 points every night. It was a lot of, we won multiple close games against Milwaukee. Every single game we played against Milwaukee was close. We played a close game at Wright State. We played a close game against Green Bay at home. Like close games against NKU. That was the entire year. Close games against Detroit both times. So, you know, it was just because we could band together that way, it made it easier to win these close games, because the guys trusted each other. They trusted each other to make shots. They trusted each other to make the right decisions, and that carried us through to the playoffs and eventually against Kentucky as well.
For sure. That's awesome. So, Buru, you've been to many pretty highly ranked places, I would say, like arenas and such. You've obviously, Kampe goes crazy with the out-of-conference schedule at the beginning of the year. I just want to know, like, give us your top 3, no order or anything, just top 3 toughest, coolest, however you want to name it, arenas/venues you've ever played at.
Purdue and Kansas are 1 and 2 by far. I remember we played Kansas to open the season, and I think we were their home opener, and I remember warming up, you know, there's nobody in the crowd. They kind of like don't let anyone in yet. And then with about, I can't remember the first time we go in or something like that. First time we go in at 40 minutes, we come out, the student section is filled in. So we're like, you know, we continue through our warm up, whatever. The second time we come out with about 20 minutes to go, the entire building is suddenly packed.
Oh.
I could not believe my eyes, because the field house, it doesn't look that big when you're inside and it's empty. You're just standing there and you're like, doesn't look that crazy. There's nothing that special about it. And then people start filling into the seats, and all of a sudden it looks like there's just this giant wall of people everywhere. So then the third time we come out for layups with about 5 minutes to go, just before the game starts, you know, we're laying it up. It's pretty loud. People are all kind of murmuring in the building, you know, the kind of noise you'd hear in like a busy restaurant or something. And then Bill Self walks out, and the place erupts. Like, it was insane. It was so loud I could not hear what the person next to me was saying. Like,
Jeez.
I made a layup and somebody ran past me and said something in passing. No clue what he said. I was just like, all right, whatever. And then the first play of the game, they tried to run a lob to KJ Adams. And he didn't dunk it, but he must have jumped 900 inches off the ground or something. It felt like they threw it at the top of the backboard and he went to try and catch it and dunk it.
Jeez.
And when he went up, again, the crowd just explodes. And it was like the loudest building I'd ever been in until we played Purdue. We went to Purdue, and this is probably because the game at Purdue was closer, so the fans had a bit more of a reason to really be involved.
Yeah.
But that was unbelievable. Like, the energy in that building was incredible. It's sort of set up similar to Kansas, where like it kind of like starts low and then builds up to like this wall where you see this sea of people, and they do this pre-game thing where they kind of like lock shoulders and then like move left to right. And it's when you're on the court, it's really trippy. Like it's like
Yeah.
they look like moving walls. It was like just this weird thing to look at. And one moment from that game that sticks out to me specifically, I think, is Brody was at the free throw line and he missed his first free throw. And the crowd got so loud that genuinely my ears started ringing. Like I could hear a ringing noise in my ear. It was
Did
it was
they
insane.
have something where it's like you miss two free throws and the fans like get something? Is that why they were going like bonkers?
No, I think they were just going crazy because he missed the first free throw and it was a close game. Like they were loud on every single possession. Like it was incredible.
Dang.
And then the third place I'd say is probably Illinois. My first ever college basketball game was against Illinois.
Ooh.
It was between there and the Breslin, but a lot of the times when we go to the Breslin, we're going over Christmas break, so a lot of the students just aren't there. It's usually like alumni night, and it still gets packed. The Breslin's always packed, but it's not the same as like drunk college kids yelling at you. So
Right.
it's a bit different, you know. It's
For sure.
people with families and responsibilities, so they're a little less loud. But I remember Illinois. I can't remember if it was some kind of night for them or something, but the place was packed. It was my first ever college basketball game, and I was maybe the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life. And they had like the members of their Orange Crush in like jumpsuits or whatever, with whiteboards on the baseline, literally right behind us, like maybe 10 feet away from where we were warming up. And they were just like writing insults on the whiteboard. And as we come back from half court in our stretches, they just hold it up in front of us. And I'd be like,
Oh my god.
what the hell? And that place erupted too. It wasn't as loud as Kansas or Purdue, but I do remember feeling like the ground underneath my feet was kind of shaking when they get loud. Like
Dang.
they would go off. And like I said, it was my first ever college basketball game. Pre-game shoot around, we're shooting our free throws, and I'm nervous, so I shoot my first free throw and I airball, and like everyone was sort of like, "Whoa, you're right, shoot the second one." And I shoot the second one and I missed so hard, like it came off the backboard. I was like, "Oh God, this is gonna be a long day."
Oh man.
Anyway, later on, eventually, I end up at the free throw line during like a scoring drought for both teams. I think we were down 8 or something. I end up at the free throw line. I shoot the first free throw and I miss. Because I remember standing at the free throw line and thinking like, as long as I don't airball, I'll be okay. I miss the first free throw, and the announcer gets on like the voicing, whatever, and he says, if he misses his second free throw, everybody goes home with free chicken nuggets. And they erupted again. They got loud, and I could feel the ground beneath my feet shaking. And my heart sunk as I shot that second free throw, and it came off the back of the rim. I was so embarrassed. Yeah, everybody was so happy to go home with free chicken nuggets. We got home.
You were the hero
We
for
got-
those fans.
Yeah, we got back to the arena, and our GA at the time, Luke, literally every day we'd finish with like free throws, and I'd get on the line, and he'd be like, "If you miss this, free chicken nuggets for everyone!" Ah! And he made fun of me for the longest time about it.
That's
Um,
funny.
That's good.
But yeah,
All right,
those are the 3 schools.
Yeah. So with the transfer portal, and these days for college sports, what made you stay at Oakland? I mean, you probably had opportunities to leave after your first and last year. What made you stay?
I I don't know. It's just I'd been here long enough, and Oakland kind of felt like home. Uh, Obviously, I'm already a very, very long way away from Australia, and I'd gotten used to the people here and the staff, made a lot of friends, um, and people that I consider like family at this point. So from that point, I was already leaning towards staying, and then I just knew what sort of role I'd have if I stayed.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to risk going to another school for a bunch of money and then not playing a whole lot,
Right.
especially because it'd be my senior year, and I just wanted to have a good final year to set myself up for future prospects as far as basketball goes, like professionally. Um, if I had gone somewhere bigger for more money and not played the time I wanted and maybe averaged like 6 and 5 instead of 14 and 6, then that might mess up what I want to do after college. So, I sacrificed uh, a lot of money for kind of stability and comfortability, but I've been I've been okay with that. It's not always been about money exactly. Obviously, I think players, if you can, go get as much money as you want. Like I'm not here to judge whether or not you should or shouldn't be trying to chase, your bag, because basketball's got to stop eventually, and people want to feel security. I get that. Um, but I just think that if I do well enough, I'll be able to make up that money in the back end anyway. So, yeah, that was sort of what led me to my decision to stay.
That's very cool. That's awesome to hear. Loyalty, I love hearing that when it comes to college basketball with NIL and all that jazz nowadays. So it's very cool to hear that, and it's a lot of respect personally for me too. I just want to know also, you guys are on a roll this year. You guys are top of the Horizon League again. Oakland's doing very well. I just want to know, what is your favorite thing about this team?
I just really like that on literally any night, somebody could go out there and get 20 plus or 30. It doesn't
Sure.
have to be the same two or three guys. Like Mike's had nights, Zaire's had nights. I mean, he just had one literally yesterday. Brett's had his nights, IG's had his nights, I've had some nights. So like, really at any point, anyone is capable of just shouldering the load offensively and being that driving force for us, which makes us so dangerous to play against because
Yep.
you take one guy away, there are four other guys, five other guys that can step up and do that job instead. And then you try and take that guy away, you try just to take him away mid-game, and now all of a sudden you've left all of these other weapons by themselves to go and score. So
Right.
it makes it so much easier for everyone, makes us really hard scout to deal with, and makes playing the games a lot of fun. We score a lot of points because of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, why do you think this team can, make a run? I mean, it's we're coming on February, and February is, Kampe says it. That's where you win championships. So why can this team make a run?
It's just like I said before, because we're so good offensively. It's kind of hard to stop us at any given point. And when we are playing hard and we're flying around defensively as well, we're an incredibly hard beat for anyone. We're really good at turning people over. We don't turn the ball over really because we have Brody and he's a really good point guard, and we have me and IG and Zaire. Like we're all really good decision makers. We have Koi coming off the bench too. So we're a team that we make a lot of good decisions with the ball, and if we don't give you opportunities to punish us defensively when we get back there and we can play hard and we can finish possessions, we're just incredibly tough. Like, I think you've seen in some of our games, some of our better games against like Robert Morris and Cleveland State and NKU, like when we're locked in defensively and offensively, like scores can get pretty ugly pretty fast.
Yeah.
I think Purdue Fort Wayne, even our first game, we were up like 25 with 8 minutes to go or something, and they hit some threes to cut the lead down. But
Yeah.
I think anyone on the court really would have told you like this game is over. Like they didn't
Right.
really have any real responses to us. So I think that makes us scary. If we can continue to lock in defensively and lock in with the effort we give night in, night out, we'll be very, very hard for anyone to beat.
For sure. That's very cool, man. I got one last final question for you, Buru. Give me your top 2 toughest players to guard in your college career.
Top 2 toughest players to guard. Oh.
Somebody gave him a nightmare.
Yeah. Braden Smith killed us. Like it was insane. I could not believe just like how well he had just dissected our defense. Like he did literally whatever he wanted. Whenever Purdue needed a run, he like created it by himself. I think he finished the game with like 20 something points and like 9 assists or something.
Dang.
And he was making some crazy passes. He was finishing a lot of tough shots. He was finding guys open and really was like sort of the spark plug for why they beat us. Like I think if he had not played that game and it was their backup point guard or something and they had Trey Kaufman play instead, I think we could have won. But it really felt like just because he was on the court, we were cooked. Like there was nothing that we could do that he didn't have an answer for. So he was probably number 1, and then number 2 is Terrence Shannon Jr.
Oh yeah, another Illinois guy, or not Illinois, another Big Ten guy. Excuse me.
He was ridiculous. Oh, actually, there's a lot of guys. It's so hard to. Adu Tierra at Arkansas, he was like the most athletic player I think I've ever played against. Like he'd get downhill so quickly. It was like everybody else was just standing still. He'd just sprint past people and dunk the ball or like get a layup, get an and one, something like that. So it'd be like those 3, Terrence Shannon Jr. and Tierra, are probably like 2A, 2B.
Gotcha.
Those 3 guys, like if I think about college basketball and the games I played, those are the 3 guys where I'm like, it was the first time I'd been on a court, and I was like, these guys are just better than us. Like, there's nothing we can really do about it. They're just gonna get buckets. We just gotta try and slow them down as much as we can.
Right. You can't. You just gotta don't let them score in bunches.
Yeah. If we can keep them to, a respectable percentage for us, as long as they're not doing it at a 65% clip and scoring every other possession, will be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, those 3 guys for sure.
Well, that's kind of all I got for the show. You got anything else good?
No. I mean, we're good. Again, thank you so much. This is your only day off. I mean, for a little bit. So
only day off, and he's coming on the 2 Point Show. What a guy!
Of course.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hey man, but
thanks for having me.
Good luck to you the rest of the season. We'll be cheering you on. Go Grizzlies! Obviously, we're excited. We think you guys are gonna make a run.
I appreciate you guys. I mean, we can get this thing rolling the next couple of weeks. I think we'll be in prime position to do what we did 2 years ago. And
yes, sir.
If I can end my college career the same way I came in, it'd be great.
Yes, sir. Yeah. All right. Well, Buru, thank you so much again. That's gonna do it for this episode of the 2 Point Show. We'll see you guys next time.